have completed Wobble hypothesis, and we are now entering into the next phase. Before that, you see once again codon anticodon pairing. This is the tRNA molecule. It's a single molecule. There is a loop called anticodon loop. Anticodon loop. There three bases are there which constitute the anticodon. They should form Watson-Crick base pairing with the three bases of the codon, and they are actually anti-parallel. Now this is a summary of the genetic code. We have already studied all those things in the previous slides. Now we enter into protein synthesis, actual process of translation. These are the machinery required. For the activation of amino acids, what are the components required? Amino acids are required. Aminoacyl tRNA synthetases, the enzymes are required. Actually, tRNAs are required which are carrying the amino acids. ATP is required as the source of energy. Magnesium ions are required as the cofactor for the enzymes. For initiation, mRNA and formyl methionine tRNA. It is a tRNA that is carrying the initiating amino acid called formyl methionine. And the codons are required. Which codon for initiation? It is initiation codon, which is AUG. Then we have the ribosomal subunits 30S and 50S. What is meant by this S value? We will see in the next slides. And initiation factors are required, which are actually proteins, GTP and Mg2 plus ions. Like that, in elongation, in termination, etc., we need different factors. All those factors are shown here. And you know that synthesis of the proteins require ribosome. What about the components of ribosome? Ribosome consists of two subunits, a smaller subunit and a larger subunit. We study the size of these units in the form of Swedberg unit related to sedimentation coefficient. 30S is a smaller one, 50S is a larger one. We are talking about prokaryote. So when they join together, it is not an additive value 50S plus 30S. We will get a total size of only 70S. The final ribosome is of the size 70S. 21 proteins are there associated with the smaller subunit, 33 with the larger subunit. And how many RNAs are required? 16S ribosomal RNA with the 30S subunit and 2 ribosomal RNAs with the larger subunit. So these many things are required to form the prokaryotic ribosome. And two things from this slide. The final ribosome is having 3 sites. A peptidyl site. It is the binding site on the ribosome for the tRNA that carries the growing polypeptide chain. Then there is an aminoacyl site, A site. It is for the binding of the aminoacyl tRNA to be added to the growing peptide chain. And there is the E site or exit site. It is the binding site for uncharged tRNA. That means the tRNA carrying the amino acid came to the A site. Amino acid is used for peptide synthesis. Now the tRNA is not carrying any amino acid. That tRNA that will be released from the ribosome. On this side. On the right side, you can see the figure on which the various components assembled together for the formation of the final ribosome. This is the 80S ribosome, that means it is in the eukaryote. Remember, prokaryote ribosome is 70S, this is 80S ribosome, but assembling is more or less similar. Instead of 60S and 40S, in prokaryote we will have 50S and 30S. And remember, ribosomal subunits are formed from proteins and ribosomal RNA. These are the ribosomal RNAs for eukaryotes. These are the proteins for eukaryotes. These proteins and ribosomal RNAs join together to form a subunit. Two such subunits join together to form the final protein. Final ribosome. And what is this? This is a photograph obtained using a computer of what? Of the ribosome. What is E and P and A? That is mentioned here. A is the amino acyl site. P is the peptidyl site. E is the exit site. You see, in the year 2000, we got the high resolution picture of the 50S ribosomal subunit, published by Thomas Steitz and Peter Mori and their colleagues. It was a big research team. A wonderful photograph it is. You can see the different components attached with this ribosomal assembly. It's a very nice photograph actually. And more and more high resolution pictures were obtained later. This is the larger subunit 50S. This is the smaller subunit 30S. That means it was from prokaryote. This was from prokaryote. And they are actually active, means engaged in photosynthesis. tRNA anticodon is in orange color. tRNA anticodon is in orange color. And proteins appear as blue worm-like structure. You can see the proteins here, blue. These are the proteins. Bases in the white color and backbone in the green color of what? Of the tRNA. You can see here. On the right side you have a 30S subunit. Proteins are yellow and rRNA in white color. This red color is the part of the mRNA that reacts with the tRNA. The rest of the mRNA winds through the grooves or channels on the 30S subunit surface. So this is a very nice diagram actually. Yes, again composition of ribosomes. We have already seen this one. Yes, what is the function of tRNA? tRNA is acting as an adapter. This hypothesis was proposed for the first time by Crick, Francis Crick. Why? Amino acids are joined together according to the sequences of nucleotides on the mRNA. But mRNA does not know amino acids. Amino acids do not know mRNA. So there should be somebody which we call an adapter, a broker, an agent who can interact with mRNA on one side and amino acids on the other side. Which means this adapter should know mRNA on one side and amino acid on the other side. This is a wonderful hypothesis because our adapter here is tRNA. On one side tRNA is carrying a specific amino acid. On the other side tRNA is having an anticodon which should match with the codon on the mRNA. That's why tRNA is said to have two functions. Function 1, it is the transporter of amino acid. It is a porter of amino acid. Function 2, it is carrying anticodon with which it should recognize the correct codon on the mRNA. This is the structure of the tRNA. This is the anticodon loop. Here you can see the anticodon. Different arms are there. There is a variable arm here. There is an anticodon arm here, this one. This is a T arm actually. This is a D arm. And amino acid acceptor stem is this one. This amino acid is being accepted here at this 3' end. The sequence at the 3' end is always C, C, A. Cytosine, cytosine, adenine. At the 3' end of the adenine nucleotide, there is the OH group free. The amino acid is attached onto this OH group. So this is the amino acid binding site. And nucleotide sequence of yeast tRNA for alanine, we call it alanyl tRNA. It is only for reference. This picture is only for reference, and we deeply recognize the contributions of Robert W. Holly for his pioneering work on this. This is the anticodon triplet. Different arms can be seen here. Alanine is attached here. And secondary structure of tRNAs. Remember, all these tRNAs have similar secondary structure actually. And this is clover leaf structure. Clover leaf. Clover is actually a plant. It has a leaf with 3 leaflets. Leaflet 1, leaflet 2, leaflet 3. So the structure of tRNA looks like that clover leaf. This is actually the secondary structure. The features of different arms are given here. This is the 3-dimensional structure of tRNA. Phenylalanine tRNA, obtained by X-ray diffraction analysis. Do you see something like an L-shaped picture? Yeah, 3-dimensional structure is like an L. Different arms are given here in this picture. Now we are going on to the stages of protein synthesis.